So, a big hearty hello and welcome from Nicholas D. Costello at the Australian Breathwork College. I'm delighted to have you here for this open house Q&A session about breathwork. And in this session, I'm going to share a brief history of breathwork because one of the common questions that I get asked is, what kind of breathwork do you do? And so I'm going to position where our breathwork fits into the bigger picture. You're probably aware that our particular style of breathwork is what we call heart-centered. So I'm going to unpack a little bit about what that means, and then I'm going to guide you through an actual gentle heart-centering breathwork meditation. It's not so much an emotional process thing, although sometimes emotions can come up in it, but mostly it's like a centering and self-regulating process to calm the nervous system. And then I'm going to talk about our Breathwork Coach certification, which is coming up in a week's time, the next intake on the 12th and 13th of August. So then we're going to have an open house Q&A. So any questions that you'd like to ask me, particularly about breathwork, would be awesome. Okay, so let's jump in here. So I think we're probably all aware that breathwork is not a new thing on the planet. It's been around for thousands of years. And the book that's really made breathwork mainstream or put it on the map is James Nestor's book, Breath. And he talks about the ancient origins of breath, conscious breathing that go back even before the yogis existed, so thousands and thousands of years. And so these people have had amazing insights into the power of the breath and the way to modulate our breathing pattern to create altered states of consciousness. And interestingly, now the science, of course, is validating a lot of those practices. This guy, these two guys, me is one, and the other one is Leonard Orr. Leonard Orr was really the guy that made breathwork in the West famous in the 70s and 80s. And Leonard discovered breathwork one night by staying in the bath for an extended period of time. And he had a spontaneous regression experience where he regressed back to having memories of his birth. And at the time, he was giving presentations at lunchtime to business people about personal development books. And he mentioned these experiences and suggested people go and have a go and see what happens. And quite a few of them had similar kinds of experiences. And then people asked him to come and sit with them when they went through these things. So they used to, in the early days, in the 70s and 80s, they had those big Swedish hot tubs and they'd cook them up and they'd have people in sleeping bags and then they'd throw them in the tub and they'd go into these regression birth memories. And in those days, the 70s, there was a lot of consciousness about conscious birthing as well as conscious breathing. And there was a Frenchman, Le Boyer, who was experimenting with having natural childbirths in dimly lit warm rooms with soft music and sometimes warm water as well to kind of ease that transition. And so the human consciousness was exploring birth. And Leonard came along and Sondra Ray, who was kind of like Leonard's companion in this, she was a midwife and she was an early person through this process. And she really took the breath work and what became known as rebirthing in those days and created a whole series of workshops and communities around the world in the theme of loving relationships training. And she came to our retreat center a few years ago. You can see it wasn't yesterday. Susie and I looking a little younger there. But these two people really, they brought breath work to mainstream consciousness. And then the guy that picked up on that was Stanislav Grof. So Stanislav Grof did some rebirthing sessions with Leonard early in the piece. And at the time he was working as a doctor and a psychotherapist, helping people with mental health using LSD. And LSD got banned in the US. And so he switched to breathwork and has kind of set up a different lineage of breathing and a breathing style that's quite dynamic, quite up-tempo and puffing kind of breathing, panting kind of breathe, to really activate peak states of aliveness and consciousness. And so he's founded holotropic breathwork. Leonard was a bit more gentle in his approach, really. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Konstantin Buteyko was a Russian scientist and a doctor, I think, and he was experimenting with minimal breathing. So Grof is doing maximal breathing and Buteyko minimal breathing. And when we first heard about this, like 30 years ago, it kind of was weird for us because we were used to lying down the floor and panting, and his Buteyko breathing focusing on less breathing. And his great discovery was that most people are panting in their everyday life, basically over breathing and breathing out too much carbon dioxide and changing the balance in the blood of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And his great kind of discovery was the higher the levels of carbon dioxide that we can tolerate, the more healthy we are. And carbon dioxide is an essential element for the transfer of the oxygen that's in our blood to transfer into muscles and organs. And it's also a vasodilator, so it makes the blood vessels relax and open up, which is why it's often associated with helping people with asthma to be able to relax their breath and dilate the lungs. And then the guy that's really put breathwork on the map these days is Wim Hof. And he's kind of blended a bit of Grof and Buteyko breathing and into what's known as intermittent hypoxia. So Wim Hof's style is to breathe fully and dynamically and really supercharge the oxygen in your blood and then hold the breath. And that holding the breath then raises the carbon dioxide levels. So it's kind of causes like a dump into your muscles and organs of the oxygen that's in your blood. And he's been scientifically scrutinized and had all kinds of amazing tests and studies done on him to show that his style of breathwork is really a supercharge thing. He has the world record for sitting in an ice tub for over 2 hours without, getting frostbite, and being able to boost his immune system and change his body temperature, and all these are quite amazing things. And so where do we fit into all of this, Susan and I? Well, I was, my first experience was with holotropic breathwork, actually, and then I was trained as rebirther in the late 90s, and I've spent then the last 25 years exploring breathwork and working full-time as a breathwork practitioner with Susan. And we've developed a gentle flowing breath that is powerful because it doesn't activate the defense mechanisms that happen when we really kind of assault ourselves with these supercharged energies. And what I found personally is that this relaxed, gentle style of breathwork allows us to keep on softening and deepening and connecting to more subtle aspects of being that the more dynamic breathing techniques can override and kind of smash. And that's actually what happened to me personally, was that this dynamic breathing stopped having any effect on me at all. I think what happened was my body started to armor against these defense assaults on my defense patterns. And so over time, I've learned that there's no defense against gentleness. And our gentle approach allows people to go to profound depth and to shift emotional trauma gently and quickly, because we're not fighting defenses. We're just building trust in ourselves and softening and opening. And then there's a whole lot of influences that have nurtured that approach. John Bradshaw's non-shaming therapy, I did some clinical work with him in the early days. Heart Math Institute, looking at heart intelligence. Pema Chodron's work, she's a Buddhist nun, she's a Canadian Buddhist nun that specializes in helping people to keep their heart open in discomfort, particularly in a practice known as Tonglen. And so there's been a lot of feeds into the way that we breathe that we've kind of labeled now as heart-centered breathwork. So that's the big picture in a snap. And people kind of like, I think a lot of marketing people say, this is heart-centered, and it sounds like a good thing, but they don't really know what heart-centered is. And heart-centered is kind of difficult to explain because it's an abstraction. It's a non-tangible. It's more about a state of being. And somebody said to me recently, Tony Robbins stuff is all about doing. Get out there and do it. Get out there and do it. And your work is much more about being and allowing it to happen. And I think that's a good distinction in a way. And I think that generally we've become human doings instead of human beings. And so this heart-centered approach is about softening and connecting and coming inside. So our work is based around helping people to connect to what they're feeling and to be able to work with healing the feelings that are underlying the issues that cause problems in our life. So most of us in the West are busy thinking, and we're driven unconsciously by the emotions that we don't acknowledge. And so in our work, we're always interested in going deeper, dropping under the stories that we're telling ourselves and how we're ruminating, and with a couple of other practices I'm going to show you in a sec, to connect and to connect to the emotion that's driving that stuff, which is really the product mostly of unresolved past trauma. And so we help people to resolve that and connect in their heart. And when they do, they create positive states of being, like gratitude, peace, happiness, and then that flows back into positive thinking and positive action. So heart-centered approach is based on connection. It's all about coming back into relationship, because I think in the West, by separating, going in our head, we've become disconnected. We've become abstracted from the experience of being. And so we look at our body as an object, we look at other people as separate from us as objects, we look at the earth as an object. And I believe that humanity has reached the limits of that approach, and the problems that we're seeing personally with loneliness and depression and anxiety, socially, again, with alienation and discrimination and things like that, and obviously globally or environmentally, we're coming to the end of being able to live with that split between our head and our heart, in that state of disconnection. And all of those so-called problems, I believe, are the birthing pains that are calling humanity to wake up and to realize that we are fundamentally interconnected with everything that's happening in the world, especially our body. And breathwork is the best modality to heal that split between head and heart, thinking and feeling, and bring us back into connection. And that connection then is based around presence, being able to live in the present moment, in our body, in relationship to the life that we're actually in. And in this work, we say that presence is both the path and the destination. So the goal in this work is to become more present in your own life, more connected. And the way that you do that is by practicing being present. So it's the path and the destination. Another key aspect of a heart-centered approach is based on acceptance and validation. So in all of our work, we never try to change anything. We never make anything wrong. We just constantly use curiosity and connection and presence to explore what's actually going on here. And so, we live in a very judgmental and critical society and very shaming society. And what happens when we make things wrong is we shut down around them, we disconnect from them, and we become stuck. And so a heart-centered approach to life, to relationships, to our emotions is all about accepting where we are and validating it, making it okay, making it reasonable, and allowing it to be present. And when we do that, things shift towards health and wholeness. So what we're doing in the heart-centered approach is we're constantly surrendering. We're letting go of control, which is coming from fear mostly, and we're surrendering and we're allowing the process to unfold as it will. And as I've got down here at the bottom of the page, our heart-centered approach is really underpinned by a basic trust in the goodness of life. There's a fundamental goodness in life that we relax into and we let go. And that's a beautiful thing in breathwork, because what we do is we let the breath do the work. We let the breath do the work. So we actually are much more like an observer in this process. We are not driving the process. We're not trying to get somewhere, and we're not trying to make something happen in a heart-centered approach, because all of those things are cognitive. They're all setting up a goal, setting up an agenda, and then trying to get to that goal. So we start pushing, and that pushing starts to create resistance. Whereas a heart-centered approach is all about being your own best friend and coming into relationship with yourself, and through the breath, allowing yourself to connect deeply to the experience that's present. And the beautiful thing, the most wonderful thing about breathwork is that when we do that, we move towards peace and happiness and wholeness and healing, and to being at our best in our life without any effort, right? So this is quite a counter-logical thing, because so many of us have grown up with a cognitive paradigm based around setting a goal, working hard to get it, and kind of pushing through to make it happen, and not realizing that we're actually making it much more difficult. And we may even be climbing the wrong ladder. You get to the top of the ladder and realize we're on the wrong ladder. So we trust that the heart is actually a source of intelligence in itself. I could have added this in here. And if you look at all great traditions, they pretty much all have the heart as the center, except for Western what would you say, Western psychology, science, whatever, all worshipping the mind. And so this work is fundamentally different to mainstream approach, and even to most healing modalities. This work is about connecting, accepting, surrendering, and then letting the breath do the work. When you put all these things together, it brings forth the quality of gentleness. Right? So it allows the process to be gentle, which means that you don't have to re-traumatize yourself to heal trauma. You just kind of soften and surrender and allow. And that process becomes a spiritual journey of connecting towards the essence of who we actually are in our life. Right? And that process, as far as I've experienced, is ongoing and deepening, and probably doesn't have an end until we're at one with life and, with someone enlightened. But I'm still on the journey to that. So if you get there, let me know. But I'm pretty confident that where we're going. And I think really, after being on this journey myself since 88, so whatever that 35 years, 35 years now, I've given up on the idea of reaching perfection, and I'd much rather just find a way of loving myself the way that I am. And I've noticed that when I do that, the best in me shows up. So that's where we're aiming towards always. So the journey that we go on in our heart-centered approach is we start off in our head, because that's where most of us live. We're working with our thoughts, and we don't We don't work in our heart-centered approach with trying to change the thoughts. We just become the observer or the witness of the thoughts. So we don't get into that argument, I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, and become kind of schizophrenic in that. Instead, what we do is to go under the thoughts and we come into the body. And the body is the litmus paper for truth. The body is connected to this earth life. It's being animated by life, by God, by creation, whatever you want to say. You are not making your body live right now. It's being animated by life. And so your body is a beautiful place to connect to the unfolding of creation. And it's part of the wave of creation unfolding. And, in our head, we think often of ourselves as like little Lego men or women bouncing around the world like this little separate object. But really, when you come back into relationship, you realize that we're part of a wave that's unfolding, a part of an evolution of human consciousness that's much bigger than us. And in many ways, we just get to be the witness of our personality in that grand orchestra. And when we listen and trust and follow our heart's guidance, we become congruent and aligned with our purpose in being here. Right? We become congruent with our purpose in being here, and we play the role in our life that we're here to live, and we give our greatest contribution. The place where most people get stuck in this deepening process is with our emotions, because we live in a culture that teaches us not to be emotional. We live in a culture that pretends that emotions are not real, that they're a product of your mind, that change your thoughts, change your feelings. But actually, often we have feelings that we don't have any thoughts linked to. We're just feeling sad for a while, or we just feel happy. Wake up in the morning, we're just happy, or we just wake up feeling angry or frightened, anxious for a period. So what I discovered in my breathwork training in 1991 was that emotions are independently self-existing from their own side. They're not the product of thoughts, although there are thoughts that create emotions. But in fact, I suggest that it's the other way around, is that all of the thoughts that we have in our everyday life are actually the product of what we're feeling rather than the other way around. And so, for instance, when you're happy, you have happy thoughts. When you're angry, you have angry thoughts, right? And so rather than trying to change the emotions by changing the thoughts, what we do is we help people to heal the emotions and come home to peace and love and happiness. And when we do that, we instantly, automatically, without any effort, cultivate a positive attitude to life. Right? So the big problem for all of us is we never learned about our emotions in our culture. We were just taught, if you're sad, that you should cheer up. If you're angry, you need to calm down. And if you're scared, you need to stop worrying. Like, we're constantly getting the feedback that emotions are your imagination, that they're fantasy. But in effect, what actually the truth is, emotions are energy. And they have information to inform us about. And so they have a good purpose in our life. And when we embrace them and we can develop some emotional intelligence to understand what we're feeling, its meaning, and how to express it in a healthy, wholesome way, we actually become supercharged with effectiveness to create a wonderful life with our heart open, with our emotions intact. So that's the third level, and that's where most people kind of bounce off and go back in their heads when they start feeling emotional, and we run away, have a drink, have a block of chocolate or some donuts or something, like squash it all down and try to get away from it. But you can run away, but you can't get away. Yeah, emotions are energy in motion is what you will have heard. Yeah, awesome, online. So then there's a deeper state of feeling that's not emotions, that again is not talked about in our culture, and it's our heart state. And emotions, I'm just like, this is the tip of the iceberg in this session. So there's 6 primary emotions: joy and sadness in the chest, excitement and fear in the solar plexus in the middle of your torso, and anger and passion in the belly. Now, all emotions are temporary, so when you feel them, you heal them. Now, when you heal them, you connect more deeply to the next layer down, which is your heart state. Heart state is an expression of the essence of who you are. It's a spiritual connection, and the feeling qualities that we have at that state are like peace, love, contentment, happiness. These are not temporary. These are not dependent on the things outside of us. These are deep states of beingness that arise in deep place of connection that only really happens through the process of deepening feeling connection. So you can think yourself happy, but you're going to end up struggling with that and then feeling bad about not being able to be happy. But if you go on this journey of deepening connection that I've got mapped out here, and I know it's really simple, I'm a simple guy, but it works. That's the goal, and it's a common question that kind of comes up in sessions these days when I'm talking to people about breath work. Is like, what's the goal of breath work? Is it just to have a big bang, wow kind of experience? Are we just wanting a lightning bolt to come down and strike us by doing this really supercharged breath so that we can actually feel something? Or is there a higher purpose in doing breath work? And I would suggest to you the highest purpose in breath work is to grow spiritually, to become a more peaceful, happy, loving, grateful, generous, courageous spirit on this earth. Right. And so our Heart Centred Breathwork actually has a very specific outcome that it naturally leads into. And so I've developed this little map for heart qualities and practices, which are things that we can do. And we bring this into the core clearing breathwork sessions towards the end when people are processed through their emotional content and then they connect into their heart. And so we have a way of helping people to dialogue with their heart for guidance in their life about how to best respond to where they're actually at. And usually the challenges that we're facing in our life are calling us to develop a heart quality and then put that into practice. So maybe we're being called to develop more ease and practice letting go and surrendering and practicing effortless flow like the dancer. Maybe we're being called to wake up and realize there's a lot to be grateful for here. We can enjoy the present moment more and live in the now. Maybe we're being called to peace and practicing acceptance. Maybe to open our heart to a deeper level of love by practicing compassion. When loving somebody hurts, and it often involves that, real love keeps its heart open through compassion, through caring for others suffering. Maybe we're being called in our life to deepen our connection to ourselves, to others, to life. And that happens through presence and openness. Or maybe we're being called to become more kind and gentle and loving, particularly usually to ourselves through dropping punishment and practicing forgiveness and mercy. Maybe we're being called to open up to the grandeur of life, to the expansiveness, and the practice is welcoming in mystery. It's the opposite of what we got taught at school, which is you're going to be successful in life if you know all the answers. But actually, that just keeps us in a box that's very limited and stops us from being able to really learn and hear and connect with people. I've been living with Susan for over 23 years, and every day is a mystery still to her and to me. Another hard quality is wealth or abundance, and the practice for that is generosity. Strength and courage are two really important qualities, heart qualities, and the practice for those is welcoming life in, or this Tonglen approach that I mentioned before, which is all about learning to keep your heart open in increasing levels of intensity. Maybe you're being called to develop more gratitude in your life, in a challenge or in the moment, and that practice is appreciation and praise. Or maybe more enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is a product of listening to and following your heart. So I've just downloaded a fair bit there. I want you just to take a breath in your body and let go, and I will too. So just take a breath in your belly. Let's make this a little bit interactive here. Which of these qualities is singing to you now, right now? When you saw that pop up there, your heart just skipped a beat. Which one Let me know in the chat. Just put it in the chat, just the heart quality right now for where you are in your life today, or right now in this present moment even. Which quality really stands out when you look there and take a breath in your belly and up to your heart? Susie's got enthusiasm, beautiful. Connection, Gav, awesome. Connection actually is standing out for me right now. And I really enjoyed the sharing at the start of this gathering. Connection, Kathleen, yes, awesome. Everybody, this is a participation sport. If you can reach a keyboard, just throw it in. Strength and courage, Maddie. Good on you. Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. And so when you live with your heart open, you need a lot of courage, right? Because it's easy to shut down and hide away and harden, in fact, but it's very courageous to live your life authentically and genuinely. Tim, gentleness and connection, beautiful. Robin, ease, and O'Brien, gentleness and mercy, beautiful, fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining in there. That's lovely. And bring some of that energy in. So, yeah, so our heart-centered approach is really about living your life fully or enjoying your life fully. Good on you, Jeffrey. Enthusiasm. So when we connect to our heart, we increase our level of inner peace, self-love, happiness, we get mental clarity, and now there's like scientific biofeedback devices that actually demonstrate that your heart rate variability increases and you experience greater mental clarity and improve physical performance when you're present and connected in your heart. Better sleep, more energy, less tiredness, accelerating healing. And these are the kinds of things that our breathwork graduates are working with clients to help to achieve. Loving relationships, healing old hurts and things like that, being more present and connected to your intuition, which is something that I really enjoy, actually. And it comes through heart intelligence because your heart is your bridge, as I said before, to creation unfolding. So when you're present and connected in your heart, you've actually got your like finger on the pulse of life. And so you pick up on things that are present or not present or distance even. And the Institute of HeartMath has now done double-blind scientific studies that show that when people are connected to their heart, their intuition is increased. And they can train people to do that. Becoming more present, so being more inspiring, loving presence in life, and being more empowered to live your life fully, to live the life that you're really here to live. Pretty good fun, eh? So let's have a taste now, just a simple taste. We'll probably go maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes in this. And I have a 5-step process, which is all about being here now, experiencing your body and your emotions, accepting whatever you're feeling, coming to your respiration, your breath, and then tuning into your heart. And so who's up for that? Put a yay, a yes, bring it on, I'm in, something in the chat to really kind of throw your hat into the ring, so to speak. And I have a little drink of water here. Great. Yeah, giddy up. Yeah. Go for it, cowboy. Yes, let's go. Love it. Robin's ready. On the edge of your chair. See, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for playing my game. It's awesome. It's lovely. Okay, so let's do this. It's very simple and really, really profound. And it's actually part of module 1 in our breathwork training. And we had a lady who's she's African American Australian, and she was doing a heart centering before the training began, and she was having massive breakthroughs, healing amazing things, deep, you know, like, what do they call that? Archetypal trauma. And she was just like, she'd already got the value for the whole training before we even started, basically. And this is a great little meditation that's really, really centering. So I'd like to invite you to let your eyes close gently and bring yourself into the present moment. Taking a conscious breath inside and give yourself permission to be here in this moment just the way you are, whether you're feeling happy, sad, excited, or nervous, whether you notice mental busyness, just let it all be here. Take a breath and let go of trying to get anywhere or make anything happen. And give yourself permission just to be here, just the way you are. Breathing in, breathing down into your belly, and filling up to your chest gently, and then letting the breath fall out as you breathe out. Drawing the breath in again into your body, tuning into your physical body now and noticing the sensations that are present. Do you feel warm or cool, heavy or light? Just breathing into your body, tuning in to what you can feel. Let's do a little body scan and just check in to see what's going on. So take a breath in, down to your belly, bring your breath up to your chest. Let your awareness float up to your head, focusing on the sensations in your head, the forehead, any tension you're holding there, your eyes, the temples on the side of your head, your jaw, breathing in and letting go as you breathe out. Moving your awareness down to your neck and throat. Take a breath in and just tune into the sensations there. Just acknowledge and accept whatever you experience, and then breathe out and let go. Breathing in, letting your awareness drift down to your shoulders. Be aware of your shoulders if you're holding any tension there. Sometimes we feel weight on the shoulders to do with responsibility. Breathing in there and letting go. Imagine now you could breathe in and down your arms, all the way down to your hands and fingers. Notice if you're holding on at all with your fingers. We hold on in life with our hands. Breathing in down to your hands, and then as you breathe out, just relax your fingers. Wiggle your fingers a little so they're relaxed. That's the way. Take another conscious breath in, tuning into your chest and upper back. Sometimes we have tightness across the chest. The chest is a place of love, emotionally sadness sometimes, and joy. Carry grief in the chest. Breathing in there. Just being the witness. We're not trying to make anything happen. We're just being present and connecting. Moving your awareness down to your solar plexus, that down near where your stomach is, in the middle of your torso and your middle back. Carry excitement and fear in the solar plexus. So just checking in there. And if you feel some tension, some tightness, some heaviness, see if you can just allow that to be here. We're not trying to get rid of it, we're just connecting to it. And we trust that when we feel it, the healing happens. Change happens when we experience what is. Taking a gentle breath in and letting go. Breathing now down into your belly, your pelvis, your lower back. Tuning in, noticing the sensations you can feel there. This is your guts. This is where the grit comes from. Anger, passion. Breathing in down there. Creativity also. And letting go. Breathing in down your legs, all the way down to your feet and toes. Notice if you're holding tension in your legs, breathing in, and then just letting go as you breathe out. Taking a conscious breath now into the whole of your body, tuning in to the energy that's flowing, the emotion, which has probably already changed since we started. But just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. You're feeling happy? Is there some sadness here? Excited? Or nervous? Enthusiastic? Determined? Or frustrated? Angry? Breathing into your body, noticing the emotion that's present. Maybe you feel numb or blank or empty or frozen. Maybe you just feel kind of quiet, peaceful. Maybe you're more feeling a heart state, contented, quiet, peaceful, loving, grateful. Breathing in and letting go. Whatever you're feeling, just take a moment to allow that to be fully here. With the breath now, gently drawing the breath in, down to your belly and filling up to your chest, keeping it easy and flowing, and then letting go. Breathing into the experience that's rising in this moment. Allowing yourself to gently connect more and more deeply with each inhalation and exhalation. Breathing in, belly, chest, and letting go. Feeling the gentle rhythm of your breath. Breathing now into your belly consciously and filling up to your chest. Bring awareness up into the region of your heart, in the middle of your chest. Take a moment to cultivate a heart quality. If you can remember the one you put in the chat, that would be awesome. So maybe it was connection, enthusiasm, courage, gentleness, ease, something like that, or something else right now. Could be gratitude. Breathing into your belly and up to your heart. Just take a moment to connect to that heart quality. Beautiful. And I know that you could probably stay here all day and it'll be a great day. We're going to round it off now. I promise to send you the recording so you can come back here whenever you like, really. You can do it without the recording, but can help. That for now, I want you to take a conscious breath in, down to your belly again. Gently begin to bring yourself back. Becoming aware of the chair that you're sitting on, the room that you're in, the sound of my voice outside. Take a nice deep breath all the way down to your hands and feet. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes as you bring yourself back into the present moment. And when you're ready, let your eyes open gently. Maybe you have a little stretch. And in the chat, love to hear how you're feeling, what happened, did you fall asleep? But you came back when I said come back, so you weren't really asleep. Maybe some sadness came up. Maybe you felt just deep peace. Maybe you started off tense and now you're feeling relaxed. Let me know a summary in the chat where you're at. How was that for you? Susie's feeling relaxed. Awesome. Kathleen's relaxed. Connected to myself, Rach. Awesome. A little nap. Lovely. Sure, it's been a big day, but feeling calm now. That's awesome. Gentleness and relaxed. Fantastic. Very relaxed. Content. Awesome. Flow of energy was done with the ease. Good on you, Robin. Fantastic. Brian's relaxed. Awesome. Fantastic. So that's kind of like an introduction, a mini introduction, micro introduction, really, to heart-centered breathwork. And I just going to walk through a couple of slides that explain a little bit about our coach training. Thanks, John. Relaxed and more at peace. Fantastic. So this is for you if you'd like to work deeply and holistically with clients with breathwork. Facilitate profound shifts quickly and gently, and do something that's meaningful in service to others, and at the same time create a rewarding income stream with breathwork so that you can work your own hours online from anywhere in the world and create raving fans as you go, and a heart-centered community around you. So this program is simple, easy to follow, and it gets results. Everything you need to build a business around breathwork is included in this training. So we call it a business in a box, and it's everything you need to become a thriving transformational leader and build a thriving heart-based breathwork business, and join the collective, join the movement of helping to birth the awakening of a new heart-centered humanity. In the training, there's basically 3 levels of breathwork that we explore. The first one is breathwork meditations for calming and centering. So those are really nice things like just simple mindfulness breathing exercises that you can teach in groups, or you could start a session with a client with these. They're 1-minute breathing practices. And then there's a deeper exploration of what we just did, which was more like a heart centering or heart coherent breathwork meditation. And then the third level of breathwork skills that you'll learn in the training is actually doing the core clearing, which is helping people to identify and clear the subconscious emotional blocks that are holding them back from moving forward in their life. With this training, you can work one-on-one, or you can deliver it to groups. You can work in person, or you can work online, which means you can do sessions all around the world if you like. So in this training is those 3 levels of breathwork. There's a script that maps out a template for a session, word for word, that's open-ended and customizable for each session, that you can have confidence in taking clients through. And people will start doing breathwork sessions on Sunday night at the end of the 2-day training because they've got the script, and they can be confident that they're going to take their clients or their friends or their family through a breathwork session and end up in a beautiful integrated place. Also included in this training is a 10-week Tune Up Your Life coaching package program for you to deliver to your clients. So if you want to build a business out of breathwork, you need to have a transformational process to take your clients on a journey. And so I built that for you. It's a well-being program, so it's really, really generally applicable. You get group session guidelines, the business, the marketing, the sales systems that are all very simple, not complicated. It's all mapped out, so anybody can do it. There's a script also for introduction sessions that you can use word for word, what to say and when to say it to enroll people into the program. Facebook ads are done. You get to swap sessions in the training with people in the training, so you get experience and confidence that you can do this. The whole training comes with a full comprehensive manual of all the PowerPoint slides, and separate to that is a coaching handbook of everything you need to do to facilitate the Tune Up Your Life program. Everything that we deliver is recorded, and all the modules are available all the time, ongoingly. as I mentioned before, this is IICT approved. So that means International Institute for Complementary Therapy, and that allows you access to get professional indemnity insurance and really build a professional practice with this breathwork. And you get to join our heart-centered global community now. Mostly we have people all around Australia now, in Northern Territory, in Western Australia, North and Western Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Tasmania, all around Australia, and now around the world. We've got someone in Wales that's enrolled for this program. We had Dubai and Ohio in the last one, so kind of fun. It's going global. So there's kind of 3 phases here. The first phase is that you need to fill up your own cup. You need to do your own personal growth work. And so we use the breath work, the flow state, heart coherence, and there's a 10-week Transform Your Life program, small group coaching program that's included in this training. The second level in the training is the facilitation skills. And so this includes heart-centered coaching and counseling, working with those core clearing of healing trauma, and then helping people to access that intuitive guidance in their heart. And then the third part of creating a breathwork business is building the business part. So we've got the high ticket program, the Tune Up Your Life program, all built for you. There's a client attraction and enrollment system built for you, and there's the guides on how to lead group breathwork and create your own community in there as well. So the format for the training is that there's 3 modules. The first module is a jumpstart one, so that's self-paced, and you can begin it as soon as you register for the course. The second module is 2 days of Breathwork Coach skills training on Saturday and Sunday, plus 4 follow-on evening webinar sessions that are on the following 4 Wednesday nights, and that begins the 12th and 13th of August. And then when that finishes, then module 3 starts, and that's a 10-week small group coaching program that I deliver in person, online, live, and guide you through a life-changing transformational journey where you get to look at each area of your life separately, do a core clearing breathwork session so that you clear any blocks that are holding you back, and you go to the next level. So we do that 10 times. So by the end of that, you've got a different life that you're living. That starts on the 13th of September. So the value of this is about $5,000. This program and comparable programs are around that price. That would be one of the cheaper ones for a limited time. We're still carrying on the post-COVID 50% discount, and it's been like that for a little while, so it's probably going up soon. And that's 2,470, or you can pay that in 4 monthly payments of $675, which makes it $2,700. And so if you're keen, super keen, and you just came here to get the nod and you want to jump in, if your heart's saying yes, I'm in, then O'Brien can put the link in the chat. Fantastic, thank you. For the demo page, that's module 1, so you can have a look in that if you want to click on that and have a look. Module 2, registration, yes. And if you just wanted to do module 3 by itself for personal growth, that's the Tune Up Your Life program, then you can click on that link. Thank you, O'Brien. If you want to download the prospectus, there's a link there to that. If you've lost it or you want to just get it, then there's the link for that. And if you're watching the recording to this, I'll put all these in the comment section or in the description for the video. And if you are interested in the breathwork training and you're not quite sure, or you are definitely sure, I still want to talk to you personally so I can connect with you, so I can find out who you are, where you are, what you're looking for. So when you go through the training, I know how to best support you in getting what you want. So offer a 30-minute clarity session, and that's online, Zoom, one-on-one with me, and I'd love to connect with you if you're keen on the training. So that completes the overview of this training. And so now I'd like to open up the line to any questions or comments, anything that's come up for you that you'd like to share. And I think that I'll just finish up the recording here. And that way we don't have to worry about, things being said that don't want to be repeated. And also it keeps the training kind of condensed so that when people look at it, they don't go, oh, it's an hour and a half, forget it, I'm not watching that. So I'm going to just finish that up. So if you're watching the recording, thank you for coming this far. And if you're keen, reach out and contact me, and I'd love to have a chat.